Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast. This week we have Newfound Glory's Sticks and Stones. Welcome again to the Punk Popcast. I am Brad, and I'm always joined by Jason on the Punk Popcast. Welcome,
What's
Jason.
up,
Thank you for
everyone?
joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime you would like, Jason, because this is your podcast as much as it is mine.
It's
But
everyone's podcast.
Everyone's podcast. Welcome to the show, everyone. So, like I said, this week we're going to talk about Newfound Glory's Sticks and Stones. This is a fantastic album. I love so much about it. Jason and I both said in the first episode that this is the album that we were introduced to Newfound Glory with. And Jason, in fact, had it in his top 3 all-time punk pop albums. So that's awesome. I love it. But
yeah,
before we get too much into some of the music from these albums, let's talk a little bit about where it came from. It was released in 2002 on Geffen Records. The first single was My Friends Over You, and it reached for, I feel like it was a considerable amount of time. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Jason, but that song was on TRL's top 10.
I want to say it was based on memory. Not that I was watching a lot of TRL at that time. But I seem to recall it was popular amongst the kids.
Amongst the children who were voting on TRL. But this is one thing that I do recall also with Newfound Glory at this time was listening to Kazaa, LimeWire, Napster, whatever pirated music downloading app program you had on your computer that you're risking viruses every single day with. I mean, think about that for a minute, right? Like in today's world, it's like, oh, that was a terrible idea.
Nowadays they got BitTorrent and the Pirate Bay, and
they're not even hiding anything. Like, yeah, you're a pirate. Just sign on board here. Let's do this.
We had Napster.
Yes, we had the Napster. But so this is something that I thought was interesting with Newfound Glory was because I always thought it was hard to find or difficult to know what exactly I was listening to because I wasn't sure if a Newfound Glory and Newfound Glory were the same band, which it is for those of you who probably already knew that as well. Initially, they started out as a Newfound Glory, and Jordan Pundick, the lead singer of the band, said, "We came up with a Newfound Glory. We wrote it on a napkin. I think we pulled some of it from a newfound interest in Massachusetts, which is a song by the Get Up Kids." So I feel like we've got a little bit of lineage here with the Get Up Kids and naming a band.
Yeah. I mean, Get Up Kids begat Newfound Glory begat All Time Low. There's got to be like a band called the JC Rays somewhere.
That is a good band name. I like that. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, there could be. And I'm going to make it one of my goals to find a band named after All Time Low, or like whether it's like a line in a song or a song title or something, because that's amazing to me. It's fantastic. But as far as the band name goes, though, Jason, one of your favorite movies is That Thing You Do, correct?
Yeah, big one for me and my wife. Actually, we both love that movie.
There you go. Very good. And I haven't seen this movie. I've seen that movie in a very long time. I need to go watch it. But one of the scenes of that movie that stuck out to me was when Tom Hanks gets the band in the room and says, "You're not the Wonders or the Oneaters anymore. Whatever you call yourselves, we're going to spell it right. You're going to be the Wonders." And I always imagine a record executive or a manager, or whoever, getting the band in the room and saying, "You're not a Newfound Glory anymore. You are just Newfound Glory. It's easier to say. It's sleeker, I guess you could say, and you can go by NFG instead of ANFG because that's too many letters." Yeah. So, this is how it's going to be. This is what we're going to do. And they said, okay, and the rest is history. The rest is history with Newfound Glory. So let's get into this. We want to go through and we each want to talk about 3 of our favorite songs from this album. So Jason, why don't you go ahead and go first?
All right, so since I'm leading off here and tying it back to the Get Up Kids, Newfound Glory, All Time Low discussion, my first pick for one of my favorite songs from this album is Head On Collision. I can remember when I bought the album, obviously listened to it like 3 or 4 times in that one day. Probably while playing Grand Theft Auto 3, not gonna lie. um, I remember that the lyrics they hit in a certain way with me, and as I've stated before, I'm a big lyric guy. The music in the song fits perfectly for what the lyrics are. Really great chorus. I mean, slightly bruised and broken from our head-on collision. That's a great chorus. I mean, and people sing along with it. It's easy to sing along to, which that's a very important thing in pop punk, unless you're Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But overall, I mean, even before it was a single, I'm like, this song just has it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it, is it has it. There's definitely an it factor to it, because I was introduced to the album, I mean, as I'm sure most of us were, with My Friends Over You. That was the reason I bought it. I knew the rest of it was going to be good because I knew New Found Glory. But this was the next song on the album that really did it for me. Like the next one that I like would hit repeat on. I'd listen to it as soon as it's over, start it over again, just wear out the track, because the intro was good, was really catchy. It had a really good hook to it, had a perfect build to the chorus, and it was, like you said, really easy to sing along to, even if at the time I wasn't really sure what it was about, because I had that experience quite yet, But then, it only took a few months. I was like, oh, even more so now. And that's a story I'll get to in a little bit, because it's kind of funny. But yeah, it was one of my favorite songs coming off of this album when I first started listening to it, because I could just listen to it over and over again. It's such an easy listen, and a good song to sing along to. While we're talking about, actually, no, let's not go to My Friends Over You. Let's go to the first track on this album. Let's go to Understatement. So for me, the kids these days, Jason, they're saying that a song slaps, right? Have you heard that?
I've heard that, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that. Well, Understatement doesn't slap. This song punches you straight in the face from the very get-go. Like, have you ever gone from one album that you had turned up way louder than you should, and then putting Sticks and Stones on? Have you ever had that experience?
I have not, no.
I'm sure. I'm sure most of us. I know I did, and it was actually one of our favorite pranks to play on people. Like, oh yeah, this is awesome, turn it up, then crank up the radio, and then like, oh, let's switch over to Sticks and Stones. You put Understatement in, and everybody in the car is like, whoa, what the? It punches you right in the face with that hard hitting guitar intro, and even if it's not turned up loud, you're pranking somebody with it hits hard to get going, and then it doesn't really stop or slow down. Right?
Yeah,
like head-on collision slows down a little bit, but it really picks up, has a perfect build, and then I feel like the album itself, it builds and then it comes back down just a little bit, has a perfect kind of a
ebb and
flow, yeah. But it never slows down too much, because one of the problems I have with a lot of albums, especially like really old music, is that the drop on it drops too low. You lose too much of the momentum, and I don't feel like you lose any momentum that you get from the very, very beginning of Understatement. And I don't know, that I love that song, and it's so the initial hit of the track is the perfect way to start out a CD.
I was getting ready to say it's the perfect opener.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to.
Without looking at setlist.fm, I would have to assume that was the opener for the tour for the Sticks and Stones album.
It might have been, because I'll get into this real quick. So I did see New Found Glory on this tour. I don't remember what they played first. They might have played Understatement, because that's a perfect way to start out, like you said. It was absolutely amazing. And it was funny because I was there with a girl I was dating at the time. It was actually her birthday. I took her to the concert as her birthday gift and everything. And we were there with we had gone over to where some of her friends were sitting, and I was literally the only one in the section who A, knew every word to this album, and B, knew every word to the self-titled album. Anytime they would play stuff off that older album, nobody knew the words. They would just kind of look at me like, how do you know this song? I've never heard it before, you know. But so I had a this is how I learned about the feelings of head-on collision. So um, I we went to the concert. We went and picked up burgers after because we were hungry because there was a lot of marijuana. So naturally we were hungry. Um, and so and then I went and dropped her off, and she broke up with me right after. And I was just like,
Oh,
"Are you kidding me? I just spent $150 on you on your birthday. You break up with me right after." So I listened. So I came really quickly to understand the words of head-on collision and what exactly that means. And I did not pay for another girl's concert ticket until I was married because I was like, no, that's bad luck. I refused to. And I took 3 or 4 girls to concert after that. So I refused. Absolutely refused to take them on like an official date where I buy their ticket. All right, go ahead.
so great segue here. So the one I picked next is "It's Been a Summer." Uh, Oddly similar reasons. Definitely had a girlfriend around the time this came up, and definitely got dumped around the time this came out. And it was over summer. And this one just it I'm like, oh god, this song really, and I hated the song for a long time. And then like once I was able to disassociate myself and what I went through with the song, I'm like, oh, this is a really good song, great chorus, um, good lyrics as always. I mean, they always have good lyrics. That's one of the
They
best
do.
things about Newfound Glory is their lyrics are tremendous and they're always super relatable. Um, but this one, it's because real life mirrored the song.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, well, and that one for me was like Memorial Day weekend, so it was like going into the summer. And I think this I listened to this album all summer long because it was like uh it was I don't know, one of those like breakup albums. And so you could relate to every single song on it just about.
You could,
And
and it has like a summer vibe to it to me, and that just
mhm,
might be because like I associate it with summer. But
yeah. And I get that. Absolutely. Like that summer, was it that summer? No, it was the Yeah, it was that summer. I had a job where I was actually delivering like tables and chairs to parties around town and like setting like doing like party setup, because it's working for a rental
okay,
company.
cool.
And so I spent the whole summer listening to Sticks and Stones in the car. And so yeah, it does. It definitely has a summer vibe to it. And one of the things I wondered was if it was because they're from Florida, so they live like infinite summer, you know?
It's very possible. I mean, I can think back to that summer, and I definitely associate this album in general with that summer. Like going with my co-host on my other podcast, David, me and him going to play hockey places, or just
Mhm.
going on misadventures on the weekends, or it's just it takes me back to that time period in my life.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. It's fantastic. But let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get into the rest of our songs. I still have 2. Jason has 1, and we'll get to those.
I'm Jason.
And I'm David, and we're the hosts of the Non-North Sports Podcast. We're the home of sports talk for everyone. Join us bi-weekly as we talk about the happenings in sports.
You can find the Non-North Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever else you find your podcasts.
9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. Weekly episodes for the entire baseball family where we talk all baseball all the time. Available on all your favorite podcast apps and on YouTube. Come join our baseball family where we do baseball together.
All right, well, welcome back to the Punk Popcast here, and we're going to go over to Brad now with his next pick for his favorite song from Sticks and Stones.
All right, my next favorite song is "My Friends Over You." This was, like I said, the first single off this album, and really drew me into the album itself. I had been listening to "Nothing Gold Can Stay" for a while, just basically cherry picked songs off that, and some songs maybe cherry picked off the self-titled album. I don't remember what all was on that mix my friend made or what we listened to, but I just know it was early Newfound Glory. And then this came out, and I heard My Friends Over You, and I loved it. And I'll be honest with you, Jason, for many, many years, I sang the first line of that song as, can you guess it? Can you guess how I sang the first line of the song?
I can't know.
Well, the line is, I'm drunk off your kiss.
For another night in a row.
Right, yeah. And so I thought for way too long that the line was, I'm drunk off your piss. I had no idea what it meant.
Whoa,
I thought...
wow. That gives it a whole different German meaning.
I know.
Here.
I was like, okay, now that is like way too foul for this album that does not have an explicit lyrics label and warning on it, right? I was like, so that obviously has to mean something else. And I do know that in British English, being pissed means that you're drunk, right? So
Right.
I wasn't sure if there was something going along there, along those lines, but that was a legitimate thing that I thought for way longer than I should have. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, so that's a thing. Anyways.
Oh God.
So this song has one of the best choruses to sing along with. Just like period. I feel like it drives, it pushes through the entire time. The song never lets up.
No.
Right? Like it has like a little bit of a build at the beginning, but then it never looks back. And that's something that I really like about song is that once, like I said before, once it builds, I don't want it to come back down. I want it to be there at that level. And that's definitely what this song does. And that's one of the reasons I love like everything about it. It's such a good listen to. Like I said, easy to sing along to. The melody is fantastic. It's great. Great song.
It's a fantastic song. I mean, it's probably, no offense to any fans of the starting line, but it's probably one of the best pop punk songs ever written. Same with Head On Collision. I mean,
yeah.
Two of the most seminal songs from one album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it was this album, like this is, so we used to talk about how Blink-182 was like the Beatles of our generation, right?
Right.
And I look at Newfound Glory as not necessarily like right up there with them, but one of their contemporaries, right? That if Blink-182 is the Beatles, then I would look at Newfound Glory as maybe the Rolling Stones. Oh, maybe I don't know like the history of the Stones or anything like that. Like, but I feel like Newfound Glory's had a smoother history than Blink for sure, and has been more consistent in their longevity, definitely. And
they really champion their genre.
Yes.
They are proud of being pop punk. They wear it like a badge of honor, whereas Blink almost seemed like they had a love-hate relationship with it.
I think they had a love-hate relationship with a lot of things, including themselves.
Speaking, okay, sidebar. Did you see the clip of Tom DeLonge at a Giants game, and they're playing oh my God, what song is it now? They're playing oh God, Off Enema of the State. Big single. I'm blanking on the name now.
What's My Age Again?
Nope, next one.
All the Small Things.
They're playing All the Small Things. And he pans the camera to his camera phone to the scoreboard, and he pans it to himself, and like no one around him knows who he is. it's like the saddest 17 seconds of like that song ever.
That's funny. That's really funny because I mean they, like I said, they were like the biggest thing, the absolute biggest thing in pop punk at the time. Like set the sound, set the standard, everything. And we can get into that like later.
Yeah, obviously.
Anyway. But
you brought it up, and I had to tell you about.
Yeah, no, that's really funny. I love that. That I love that so much. And this was like the Paint It Black, right? My Friends Over You. It's like, have you ever heard of Newfound Glory? Maybe, I don't know. My Friends Over You. Oh yeah, I've heard of them. That's the one. So
I agree with that.
Anyway, go ahead to the next one, Jason.
So my third one, and this is a bit of a sentimental one for me. It's The Story So Far. So when it first came out, I I don't know, for some reason I always liked this song. Can't explain why. There's just always an intangible reason why I liked this song. And then I met my wife, and I understood the song so much more. To the point that it's on my playlist of songs that make me think of her, because I'm a
nice.
nerd. But yeah, I mean, it's just the song is really pure, and that's something that is obviously very true about a lot of pop punk songs, but it's pure in a different way. And I think it almost sets up the bar for "Don't Want to Know" on the next album. Like this is almost like a teaser of them going into like a song like that. Yeah, for me, it always was a song I felt connected to. And now I understand the connection to it now that I'm older, wiser, and married.
Yeah. And so for me, this song, so we always had a piano in our house growing up, and never, I shouldn't say never, but I tried 100 times to learn how to play the piano. To this day, I still cannot read music, and it was like my big like blocker in learning how to play the piano. I could tell you all the keys, everything. I don't know like any of the theory, scales, whatever. But if you were to, basically what it was I would write the notes in so I could play like on the sheet music, and I learned how to play by ear. Now to the story so far, this was the first song that I heard that I was like, okay, I need to learn how to play that intro so I can put it with my guitar. Right? I was like, this, like, I need to learn it. So I just went downstairs and plunked around on the keys until I found that one. And I was like sitting there, like, 7-8 inches from the piano, reaching over the top of a guitar, playing these notes, and then strumming, hitting my hand on the piano because I'm as close as I could be, just like, yes, I figured it out. I got it. Because this entire album for me was one that, at one point I could play every song on this album on my guitar because I was that determined to learn how to play it.
That's awesome.
That was the project I set for myself, and I did it. And yeah, it was awesome. The story so far is a great song. It's amazing.
And it has, I mean, just that opening line of, I can't remember the time or place or what you were wearing. It's unclear how we met. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, just, it's simple, but it tells a whole story in just those few lines.
Yep, it does. It does. And that's one of the things that I think New Found Glory doesn't get enough credit for is, like you talked last week about how they don't take themselves seriously, but they also do a great job telling a story with their lyrics. That was one of the first bands that I was ever like, this actually makes sense.
I mean, they're clearly a fun band,
right?
But they're real people at the end of the day. And I mean, we'll be talking about Radio Surgery, which is like my favorite album of theirs. And it's a very real emotional album, wrapped in just amazingly great, like throwback pop punk choruses. But yeah, I mean, they're a fun band, but they have a lot of really serious lyrics. And this is one of them.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And that was, I was actually a little bummed when you sent me your list and this one was on there because it was definitely going to be one of my top 3. We might need to hold a draft or something next time so you don't take all my songs next time.
we always have like the same songs.
I know. And it's because we both have the same feeling about so many of the songs on an album. There are certain songs that stick out more than others, right? Yeah. We're going to talk next week about Nothing Gold Can Stay. And there are certain songs on there that stick out way more than others. And I feel like every album is like that, So
yeah,
I don't know. It's pretty cool. Okay, my last song is going to be Singled Out. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know. I cannot exactly articulate what it is about this song that I like that I shouldn't say that I like, that I love. I really like it a lot. It's catchy. And I looked up the wrong lyrics because I wanted to find, there is a line in this song that I wanted to point out. But I will say there is one part in the coming out of the bridge when they scream, like there's just like that little touch of screamo in there.
Yeah.
I remember driving around town with my buddy with his Honda Accord because everybody had a Honda at the time. At least everybody had a friend with a Honda at the time. And we got to that part. We both just looked at each other. We're just like, oh, that's different, and I like it. I like it a lot. Like that was the very first little bit of like, and like I said, just like a tiny little sampling of Screamo that I had ever heard and was like really, really in love with. That I really liked it a lot. But I feel like the lyrics are really catchy in this on this song. This is one of like, we talked about how Head On Collision and My Friends Over You are like the real main, obviously the main hits. They're the singles on this album.
Yeah.
But this is one of the real earworms, I felt like, on the album, right? It has kind of like that lo-fi intro, and then it really gets in and starts rocking out. But I don't know. And then the chorus is like, it's not huge, but it builds and has a good melody to it, right? So I don't know. I like it a lot. I think it's really good.
It is a really good song. The lyrics, I have them up on Genius because that's my favorite lyric app. Great lyrics. Again, always relatable. That is one of the best things about Newfound Glory is their songs are relatable. And you could be 17, you can be 37, you can still understand what this song is about and relate to it in some way.
Yeah. And so I have the chorus, and this is one thing that I've always thought was funny. And it's like such like a teenage thing to say, right? It's, why'd you have to go and make me say those things about you? Like, well, you did this to yourself that I was talking trash about you and saying that you were crazy. This is your own fault. If you didn't leave me, I would have been so upset and said those things.
Very angsty. But those verses angsty. Are still, the verses are really good too. That's just me though.
Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. But overall, and another thing we're going to do with these albums is we want to give them a rating. Jason, why don't you go ahead and explain the rating for us?
So what we were talking about is any album that we rate 100 to 90 is considered essential pop punk. So if you're listening to this and you want to know what albums you have to go and listen to them. If you want to understand pop punk, these are the albums. Anything 89 to 50, it's pop punk, but it's not quite essential, but it's definitely worth going out of your way to listen to. Anything 49 and under is not pop punk.
Yeah.
Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, as far as that goes.
We might need to create an Excel spreadsheet for this. I can't talk all of a sudden.
I think that's actually a great idea. Maybe we will do that. And I don't know. We'll figure something. Then we'll go back and look back on them at the end of the season or something like that. But so, Jason, I rated this a 100 because you cannot talk pop punk without Sticks and Stones, in my opinion.
I agree. I also rated it a 100. I think it is one of the seminal albums of pop punk. I think it is absolutely essential pop punk. One everyone should go out of their way to listen to.
Most definitely. All right. So before we wrap things up here real quick, let's talk a little bit more about what you can expect from the podcast. So we're going to do seasons here. This is something we want to do. We want to be able to bring you and continue to bring good content for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 15 episode seasons throughout the year. So we'll do one season, we'll go through December, and then we'll start up again in January. We'll do another season. We'll do 2 seasons a year, 15 episodes. So that's what you can expect from the Punk Popcast. And with that, thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next week.